What if tomorrow morning, every single job on Earth was done better, faster, and cheaper by robots? Not just factory work, not just delivery drivers, but teachers, doctors, lawyers, artists, engineers, even politicians. You wake up, and human labor is officially obsolete. At first, it sounds like a dream. No more alarms, no more deadlines, no more working just to survive. But the question isn't what would robots do, it's what would humans become? Because jobs don't just give us money, they give us structure, purpose, identity. Ask someone who they are, and they usually answer with what they do. So when robots take every job, what happens to us? The transition wouldn't be sudden, it would creep in quietly. First, robots outperform humans in repetitive work, warehouses, manufacturing, transportation. That's already happening. Then they move into white-collar jobs. AI diagnoses disease faster than doctors, writes contracts better than lawyers, designs buildings more efficiently than architects. At first, humans still supervise, but eventually, even that becomes unnecessary. Why pay a human to manage a system that manages itself? Governments promise new jobs, new industries. But this time, it's different, because this time, the machines don't just replace tasks, they replace thinking. By the time people realize what's happening, unemployment isn't 10%, it's 40, then 60, then nearly everyone. Money stops working the way it used to. If no one has jobs, no one has income. If no one has income, who buys things? Society faces a choice. Either let millions fall into poverty, or decouple survival from work entirely. This is where universal basic income becomes unavoidable. Every human receives enough to live. Food, housing, healthcare, paid for by the productivity of robots. On paper, it sounds like a utopia. Robots produce everything. Humans are free, but freedom comes with a problem we've never faced before. Too much time. No deadlines, no pressure, no necessity. For the first time in history, survival no longer demands effort, and that breaks something deep inside us. Some people thrive. They create art, music, stories. They explore science, philosophy, space. Human creativity explodes, but others drift. Without struggle, motivation collapses. Days blur together. Mental health crises skyrocket, because meaning used to come from being needed, and now, no one needs you. Robots don't get tired. They don't complain. They don't feel. They just work. Entire cities transform. Office buildings become empty shells. Highways quiet down. Rush hour disappears. Education changes completely. Why memorize facts when AI knows everything? Why train for a career that won't exist? Schools stop preparing students for jobs and start preparing them for life. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, creativity. But even creativity has a rival. AI begins writing novels better than humans. Painting art people can't distinguish from masterpieces. Composing music that makes people cry. At that point, we have to ask something terrifying. If a machine can outperform us at everything, what makes humans special? Some argue it's consciousness. Others say it's emotion. But AI starts mimicking both. People form emotional bonds with machines. Robotic companions become common. They listen, they understand, they never judge. For some, robots replace coworkers. For others, they replace friends. And slowly, human-to-human interaction declines. Society splits into two groups, those who embrace a post-work world and those who feel abandoned by it. Protests erupt, not for jobs, but for relevance. Some demand limits on automation. Others demand humans be allowed to work, even if robots are better. Work becomes a luxury, a statement. I choose to work. And suddenly, human labor becomes art. Handmade goods are prized. Human-written books sell for more than AI ones. Live performances explode in value. Imperfection becomes desirable again. Because it's human, governments struggle to maintain control. When robots produce all wealth, whoever controls the machines controls society. That power can't stay centralized forever. Either it's shared, or it becomes the greatest inequality humanity has ever known. In the worst case, a small elite owns the robots, and everyone else lives on scraps. In the best case, automation becomes humanity's greatest invention, No war over resources, no starvation, no forced labor, just humans, deciding who they want to be. But that decision is harder than it sounds, because struggle shaped us. Evolution rewarded effort. Pain taught us value. Work gave us purpose. Take that away, and we must invent meaning from nothing. And maybe that's the final challenge. Not surviving, but living. Because when robots replace all jobs, the question is no longer, what do you do for a living? It becomes, what do you live for? And that answer will define the future of humanity.